Hello, I'm Phil Poindexter, the president of Stockyards Bank, and I would like to welcome all of you to the first ever virtual Stockyards Bank on the road. If you have attended SYB on the roads in the past, you'll know that we usually do this over a face-to-face breakfast. We apologize for that not being the case this time, and it is our sincere hope that as these challenging times abate, we'll be together soon to do these. Until then, please stay healthy and take care. SYB on the road is an opportunity for us to visit with our clients and our prospects and our centers of influence, to network and share what's going on in the bank and give a general economic overview. I hope you find today's program both relevant and interesting and hopefully timely as well. If you are a current customer of Stockyards Bank, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for your business. We'll never take it for granted and always endeavor to earn it in the future. If you're not a customer of the bank, we're glad you're here, and we hope you hear something today that makes you want to reach out to one of our representatives or tell a friend about us. We have two speakers today. Jay Hillerbrand, our CEO, will kick us off with an overview of Stockyards Bank and what's going on in the banking industry. It's been a very busy time for us. And then after that, Mark Holloway, our Chief Investment Officer, will talk about the economy in general and the capital markets and what's going on. It's been very interesting in that area as well. So without further ado, I will turn the program over to Jay Hillerbrand, our Chief Executive Officer.
Again, as way of introduction, I am Jay Hillerbrand, CEO of Stockyards Bank and Trust Company. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about the bank, hit a couple of highlights, mainly things that I get asked of me often, and then I'm going to give you a couple of other updates of what's going on around the company right now. And then Mark Holloway is going to join us to give you an economic update. First, as many of you know who are customers, Stockyards Bank has been around a long time, since 1904. So we're 116 years old this year. We are a $3.8 billion bank with a $3 billion wealth management and trust area as well. Makes us very different as a community bank to have the depth of a large wealth management area as we do. We have 42 branches in the Louisville community, Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, and Indianapolis. So three primary markets, as we say, where we have branches. Most of those are in Louisville, because this was where we started in 1904. We have, 32 here. We have 5 branches in Indianapolis. Our most recent one opening in Plainfield in the end of 2018, November of 18. And then in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area, we have 5 branches as well. Our 6th branch will open up in July of this year in the Evendale area of Cincinnati. Here in the Louisville market, where I am sitting today, we added a branch last year in the area called Mount Washington, and we'll be opening a new office in the Valley Station area in July of this year as well, taking our number of offices to, I guess we'll have 44 with the addition of the Cincinnati office. We are a publicly traded company, so I'm not going to get into a lot of numbers and that kind of thing with you today, but feel free to Google SYBT. That's our stock symbol, Stockyard Bank Trust, SYBT, and you can find out all the information that you want to know about our company. One thing I will tell you though, if you don't see it, we're very proud of, and that is if you look at our balance sheet where it says loans outstanding, that's the principal balance of the loan portfolio here at our company. I'm very proud to say over every year that we've been around, we have grown that loan portfolio. We've grown the outstanding balances of our loans. Why is that important? Because I think that tells you, and we can back it up with these numbers, that we are there for our customers during the bad times as well as the good times. That's what banks are supposed to be here for. So if you look back at the financial crisis that's in the rearview mirror now, but most of us remember it, a decade or more ago now, we grew our balance sheet. We grew our loans during that time. We did not chase a lot of exotic lines of business, and therefore we didn't get in trouble like many of our peer banks did. And therefore we were able to grow, get some new customers, but most importantly, we were able to stick with our existing customers. And through a little give and take from the bank and the business owner, we're able to work through issues, and many of those businesses are surviving and thriving today. So we're very, very proud about that. But again, Google SYBT, you can find out everything you'd ever want to know about our company. We are traded on the NASDAQ, again, under the symbol SYBT. We have a widely shareholder base. There's no family control of this bank. There's no major institutional owner. So with no major institutional owner, no major family or individual owner, we are truly in control of our destiny and can remain independent, which has been our goal all along and still is going into the future. To remain independent, really back, I guess, in the early 2000s, 2001 and 2002, during some strategic planning, we were concerned about Louisville, the city, maybe not growing as fast as our local bank here was growing. And so we were worried about saturation maybe 15 or 20 years out, really about where we are almost today. So through some strategic planning, we decided to remain independent. We needed to go to larger markets that were dominated by large banks. So in 2003, we went to Indianapolis and then started out with one individual, made some loans to go pay for himself, and then hired somebody else and did the same thing, and eventually opened our first branch a year and a half later. And today we have every department that we have in the home market of Louisville represented in Indianapolis, and they continue to grow very, very nicely. And then in 2007, right before the financial crisis, we opened in the Cincinnati community and then the Northern Kentucky community shortly thereafter, again hiring Stephen Brown. And Stephen made some loans, paid for himself, and then we opened a branch a little quicker there, 6 months. We were into our first office there at 4th and Race in downtown Cincinnati. Again, why we like Indianapolis and Cincinnati is because they are both larger than the Louisville market, so a lot of runway, if you will, for growth, and they're dominated by large banks. So I'll use Cincinnati as the example for the three markets. The top three banks in the Cincinnati MSA control 91% of the deposits. And so we compete very nicely with the larger banks because many larger financial institutions have to always be focused on new business all the time. They forget about the existing customer. And we like to say, we take care of our existing customers. We love new business, but most of your new business comes from existing customers, right? You've heard that over the years, I'm sure. And that is very true. So we need to make sure we're taking care of our customers, staying close to them, building relationships. Never before has relationships mattered than what we're going through in these times right now. And that's why we believe with all the technology that we have and all the other banks have, online banking, mobile banking, take a picture of your check and deposit, we have all those things, but they are conveniences. You have to have a relationship. I've been saying it, we've been saying it around here for years and years. You need to have that relationship with an attorney if you're a business owner. You need to have a relationship with your insurance agent. You need to have a relationship with your CPA. And you need to have a relationship with a banker, someone that can go through the good and bad times with you, not just somebody who can give you the loosest terms and the cheapest rate. All those, that's competitive markets drive all of that. But you need to have a relationship. And we hope you have a great relationship with us. Our goal is to make sure you not only just know one individual at this company, but many throughout many different departments, so that you can have a relationship on many different levels. And we want you to have a long-term history with our company. If you don't have that today, we would love to have the opportunity to talk to you about your business. And if you are a customer, we'd obviously like to say thank you. You're not taken for granted. We like to, complement the relationship-focused banking with all of the modern-day conveniences of the online banking and mobile banking, and we have been fortunate to be able to stay on the leading edge of that due to our size. We're at $3.8 billion. We're a larger, above-average size community bank. And it allows us to have all the depth and breadth of products and services, but it also allows us with our human capital, which is so important, to be able to be very flexible and very nimble in dealing with customers on your time frame, not ours. Our goal is to take care our customers' needs first, not our needs first. It's as simple as that. And we've been able to outperform over 90% of all banks in the country from a financial performance stuff by just simply taking care of our customers. And we will continue to do that. So a couple things really just about what's going on around here lately. Obviously, the pandemic, we are in uncharted territory for all of us, unprecedented times for sure. We have, as you may know if you're a customer, operating a little differently, but we like to say business as usual is the attitude here. We have right away, we separated individuals working in large departments to different physical locations out into the branches and other buildings that we own to separate individuals to get as much distance in between, as well as having about 30% of our workforce working from home. We have all of our branches are operating through the drive-through. We do have 4 branches in between the 3 communities we serve that have branch lobby hours like normal. All other branch lobbies are by appointment. So you can call in if you need to meet with someone and you have to do it in person or you need to sign some documents. We actually have people opening deposit accounts through the drive-through lanes. But if you want to go in, we'll help you with the mask and gloves and the plastic partitions, everything we can to make it as safe an environment to be able to transact that in-person business that may need to happen. Again, you can call in, set that appointment, or actually if you drive up to the door, the phone number is on the door as well. And we're not going to be a pioneer here in opening our branches sooner than we need to. It seems like we are able to take care of our customers. Customers seem to be happy with how we're dealing with everything. And we're going to continue to do business that way until we feel secure in our safety in regards to the coronavirus. The other thing that I want to touch base on is the PPP loan program that is developed by the SBA and the Treasury Department. We've been very active. We've done over 3,200 loans, totaling about $690 million in loans for businesses, small to large businesses. We were taking care of our existing customers in the beginning because I did not want to help a new customer new to the bank without being able to take care of our existing customers first. And once we're able to do that, we were able to take care of a lot of new business, and that will be a growth definitely for us going forward. We got a lot of attention, a lot of information out there on the media about our participation in the program, one of the top banks in the country. And that is a lot of that is because of the type of business that we bank. We are a commercial bank. We like to take the business, bank the business, the owners, the management teams, the employees of that company. That's how we get to our consumer accounts. And then take care of managing their retirement accounts for the business. Take care of money management for the individuals down the road as they grow their wealth. So very happy about the PPP program and what we're able to do as bankers to help businesses in our community. So very, very happy about that. I'm going to now introduce Mark Holloway. Mark Holloway is our Chief Investment Officer of the company. He is a chartered financial analyst. As the CIO, he is part of the investment team doing qualitative analysis, portfolio strategy, and equity and fixed income selection through our wealth management and trust department. Mark has over 40 years in the business and highly regarded. If you've heard him speak before, he does an outstanding job and pretty straightforward. So depending on what he has to say, may depend on what your mood is like the rest of the day. Again, I'm Jay Hildebrand. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Jay, and thank you for viewing this video. This is our first WebEx edition of SYB on the road. I'm particularly sorry that we cannot be together in person, as I would really like to get the usual audience feedback to find out how you all are coping in this age of COVID-19. Unfortunately, safety protocol prevents us from having a face-to-face meeting, me from getting a haircut, and us all wearing masks, all part of the new normal in the age of the coronavirus. As usual, I will discuss the outlook for the economy and the capital markets. The time frame for our guesses about the economy will be the remainder of this year, and we hope we also will briefly touch on the longer-term outlook and make some general comments about what we see happening longer term in the economy and the stock and bond market. Our longer term discussions are meant to give you some hope as we note some of the positive future outcomes and changes that may take place as a result of this virus. I say guesses because we are in uncharted waters with regard to the economy and the stock and bond market. We have not had a pandemic of this magnitude since the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918, over 100 years ago. The virus that started all of this disruption in our markets and economy on a global basis has now infected over 6 million people and it resulted in about 351,000 deaths. U.S. cases now stand at 1.7 million with 100,000 deaths, in spite of the attempts to reduce contact through social distancing, the wearing of masks, and the shutting down essentially of our economy. Economists and strategists are all amazed at the rapid drop that we've had in employment, economic activity, and all of the capital markets volatility that we've experienced recently. So where are we economically? We and most economists feel that we are in the very early stages of a coronavirus-induced recession of unknown duration. Attempts to control the spread of the coronavirus have necessitated the shutting down of businesses large and small on a global basis. Non-essential businesses are operating with skeleton crews, and essential businesses like the bank are operating with approximately a third of their workforce at home. The travel and leisure industry has been particularly hard hit by this. We've completely shut down restaurants, cruise lines, hotels, theme parks, and virtually all means of public transportation, from subways to airlines. Operations have been suspended and employees have been laid off or furloughed. It is unknown how responsive consumers will be to the partial reopening of shops, restaurants, and businesses in early June. It's also unknown what type of recovery we're going to have. Will we have a quick bounce back after a very severe downward draft and then a quick bounce back in economic activity? Will it be one of those things where it takes us a while to build momentum to get the economy starting again? Or will it be one of those things where we have a new normal with much slower than normal economic growth as a result of the coronavirus? The consensus view on the U.S. economy is that the first quarter, second quarter, and third quarters of this year will all be negative. We just got the second revision of first quarter GDP estimates this week, and it came in at -5%. Guesstimates for the second quarter of GDP range anywhere from down another 5% to down 20%, with a continued decline in the third quarter and a gradual recovery beginning in the fourth quarter. That's the consensus estimate, but I don't think anybody really knows exactly what's going to happen, particularly if we have a resurgence of the disease after this slight reopening that we're experiencing in the month of June. Contributing heavily to the decline in economic activity is the dramatic rise in unemployment. The unemployment rate in the United States in March was 3.5%. Normally, we consider 4% unemployment to be full employment in this country, as about 4% of our workforce is in transition or unable to work at any one point in time. We've gone from that 3.5% full employment level to the unemployment numbers that were announced this week came in right at 15%. We have never had an increase in the unemployment rate this rapid over a 2-month period of time. Claims for unemployment benefits have been averaging somewhere before the coronavirus hit around 75 to 80,000 people a month. We have now had 40 million people apply for unemployment benefits on a state or federal level. Amazing. The type of economic recovery that will eventually take place will depend on how rapidly we return people to work. And the reason for that is about 2/3 of our economy is dependent on consumer spending. And when people are working, they're much more likely and free with their money. They're more likely to spend money. When they're sitting at home and unable to work, the tendency is to try and control your spending and reduce spending activity. So the unemployment numbers are going to be very important for determining what type of recovery we have and how fast we get back to being at this full employment level and how fast we get back to growing GDP. One of the double-edged swords of all of this is that we have had states and other sources, unemployment relief, that's been massive. And the federal government, part of the care package, was to give people under a certain income level an actual check. Many people now, approximately 60% of the people who've received those checks and have filed for unemployment benefits, actually are making the same amount or more money than they did when they were actually in the workforce. So that may slow people's tendency to try and re-enter the workforce as long as they can continue to receive these benefits and maintain a certain standard of living. What does this mean for the capital markets? Taking the stock market first, the initial decline in stock prices was a 33% drop, a very rapid 33% drop. Investors panicked and sold stocks because of the uncertainty regarding the impact and spread of the virus itself, the impact the virus would have on economic activity, and the resulting hit to corporate profits. All of those things were unknowns, and markets and market participants dislike unknowns. Without a firm idea of what future earnings will be, it's impossible to determine valuation measures like PE ratios, price to sales ratios, dividend yields, and price to cash flow ratios. These have been the traditional means that we've used to place valuation boundaries on the market. When those valuation boundaries get blurred, the markets become volatile, and that's exactly what's happened over the last 3 months. Amazingly, the market has regained nearly all of the losses associated with the early selling, proving once again that it's impossible to time the market. If you had sold stocks after the initial market decline, you would have missed one of the greatest comebacks of all times in the stock market, and you would have torpedoed your performance for not only this year, but probably for the next couple of years. Currently, as of yesterday's date, 5/27, the market is now down only 5% year to date. This does not mean that volatility is over. The stock market will continue to react emotionally until the unknowns regarding the severity of the impact on the economy and what the impact is going to be of the virus on corporate profits, and whether we have a second rebound in occurrences of the virus as a result of reopening the economy. As long as those things are in play, we're probably going to continue to see volatility in the stock market. And many people are suggesting that we could retest that downward spiral that we had in March. Why did the market bounce back so quickly? That's a question that I'm getting from a lot of customers now. I think market participants realized that the coronavirus pandemic was not as prevalent or as lethal as some of the models first thought. Many people were anticipating that we would have 1 million deaths from this, and that's simply not happened. So that's a positive thing. Strategists were also very pleasantly surprised at the very quick response by the Federal Reserve and the federal government in their attempts to add liquidity and pass legislation that aided individuals and businesses and tried to soften the impact and hardship of the impending recession. Finally, interest rates declined to levels that were not competitive with stocks. High-quality stocks, there are a number of them that pay dividends that are well covered by cash flows and by cash on the balance sheet, that are sometimes 4 and sometimes 5 times what you can get on higher quality intermediate term fixed income. And I think all of the liquidity that the Federal Reserve has placed in the system had to have some place to go, and the place that most people felt most comfortable with was in domestic stocks. And that's the reason that our market snapped back so quickly. Which brings us to the bond market. Interest rates have declined on fixed income investments worldwide. The threat of deflation and global recession has now become the primary concern of the world's central banks, including our own Federal Reserve. As a result, we believe interest rates will remain lower longer than normal and could even decline from these levels. There is also an element of political expediency associated with these low rates. Governments all over the world are borrowing at a tremendous rate to try and spend money to reduce the hardship of lower economic growth and to stimulate economic activity. The only way we can feasibly run $5 trillion deficits is to be able to finance those debts at very, very low levels of interest rates. As an example, the federal government reactivated the sale of 20-year government bonds, selling $20 billion in the first auction last week. it's anticipated that there will be a monthly sale of 20-year bonds for the foreseeable future to fund all of this stimulus money that's going to come about. Eventually, the amount of debt and deficits and liquidity will create inflationary pressures. Until that day, interest rates will remain artificially low and may approach zero as governments and central banks wage battle against the bigger economic and deflationary scares that we're experiencing now. Longer term, I think there are some positives that have resulted from the current crisis that may result in a new normal in our economy and daily lives that could be a good thing. The disruption of supply chain will undoubtedly result in a return of manufacturing to the United States. This will have the long-term impact of adding a number of higher-paying jobs to the economy and increasing our overall security. Our dependence on foreign sources for many of the healthcare products and other necessities of daily life will be addressed and corrected as a result of all of this. The political divide and rancor that has been somewhat set aside near term due to the crisis. The President and Congress have a new shared goal of limiting the hardship of both the disease and the recession that we're experiencing. Both parties have cooperated and acted quickly to pass the CARE Act, and are currently hashing out the details of a second round of stimulus. Chairman Powell has indicated in subsequent speeches and in testimony to Congress that the Federal Reserve is prepared to continue to add liquidity to the banking system and do whatever is necessary to reduce the impact of this recession and to hasten the recovery that should take place. In short, the crisis has focused our elected officials on the needs of the people during this historic time. Let us hope that that trend continues. Many of the details of the CARE Act and subsequent stimulus package, when coupled with the very low interest rates, will encourage a new round of entrepreneurship and business startups. And small businesses are the source of the majority of new job creations in this country, and also the source and creation of wealth in this country as well. Businesses everywhere have been forced to adapt to the changing economic environment by seeking new productivity enhancements to manufacturing and customer service, allowing greater employee flexibility to work from home, and utilizing new technologies to maintain customer and client relationships and loyalty. The increase in flexibility and productivity associated with some of these new ways of doing business will be positive for economic growth longer term. We are very fortunate to live in a country with an abundance of natural resources and a political and economic system that is the envy of the world. We sense a new level of patriotism, self-reliance, and appreciation for the things that are truly important in life as a result of this pandemic and the changes that it has wrought. The crisis has reminded us that our health is truly priceless. The support of family and friends during a time like this is something that is also very important. Changes that rapidly impact and threaten the things that are most dear to us often bring us together with a renewed commitment to the future and an appreciation for life. This is not the first or the last pandemic and period of economic turmoil that we will experience in our lifetime. We have confidence that an effective medical protocol will be developed to lessen the severity of the coronavirus, and a vaccine will be invented to eliminate the disease. Clinical trials are already underway and are being tested on humans to try and accomplish this goal. We are encouraged and impressed by the commitment and bravery of the medical professionals who are maintaining, and their support staffs that are maintaining hospitals that are dealing with the coronavirus and the people who have been affected by it. They are truly heroes. We are also confident that our economy and our capital markets will recover and thrive again. The reason for that is because they always have and always will. Periods like this are painful, but historically they have traditionally been very short and generally followed by longer periods of prosperity, increases in the standard of living, and wealth generation. We want to ensure that clients remain calm and not make emotional decisions that would limit your ability to participate in the ultimate recovery in the economy and the prices of financial assets here in the United States. This is an appropriate time to thank you for not only your business and also for your support of me personally over the last 25 years at Stockyards Bank. Stockyards Bank and Trust has been here for clients since 1904. Through good times and bad times, we've weathered past economic storms together. Many of us are working from home now, but we want you to know that we are here for you. Please reach out to any of our advisors for help navigating these uncertain times. To the customers, shareholders, and business partners of Stockyards Bank and Trust, thank you. We are grateful for your business and relationship.